dollars that we put into this capital expansion has really made an enormous difference to the operations. I think that all of you are to be commended for the fantastic work you've done.
2 years after the switch to teams, John Champagne is still sharing his dreams for Magma's future with the workforce.
It's important to connect every worker with our ultimate vision, which is to be the world's best at our business. Whether they're working in the loading docks or in the smelter, it's important to relate that to the goals of the organization. We're not doing this as some experiment in sociology. We are doing this because we want to be the world's best. We want to have the highest productivity, we want to have the lowest cost, and the best quality product.
From CEO Burgess Winter and President John Champagne, to union representatives, to the hourly workers, Magma is committed to making teams work. Costs are down. Productivity has risen for 5 consecutive record quarters. Last year, every employee received gain-sharing payouts, which averaged just over $3,000.
Sometimes I almost get choked up thinking about how far we've come and how much distance there is between that other life that we had and this cooperative relationship that we developed here, because it's really the difference between night and day.
And it makes me happy that a lot of the people are getting listened to that have ideas. You know, we've got a hand in there, equally, all of us.
Certainly there were people who suggested that we were a bunch of crazies, that we were giving away power to the workers, and that this was going to create havoc, and they were very skeptical as to whether this approach had any merit at all. I'm pleased to say today that yes, we have done that. We have given away enormous power to our workforce, and the results have been magnificent. We're very, very pleased.
Magma was a company in serious trouble. The chairman knew it. All the people involved knew it. But it's interesting how John Champagne used that throughout to reinforce the performance ethic that really is required to make teams work. So without probably realizing it, by trying to help people understand the urgency, it was also helping teams to form.
What this story also illustrates is the absolute essentialness of living this stuff every day. And that's what I would call investing in the informal training, the informal learning. When we saw people on the plant floor talking about real problems in the story, that's what I mean by investing in the informal aspect. They were living this stuff every day. And it's in the living of this stuff in your job context, in your organization context, in your performance context. That's when we really learn what makes the difference between teams that perform and teams that don't.
A team is harder work than just an ordinary group of people sharing information. There's a discipline to becoming a team. You have to work together in ways that you haven't done it before. So it takes more time. You have to understand different people's situations. So there's an element of hard work and discipline and adherence to collective work products as well as individual work products.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Ritz-Carlton.
The Ritz-Carlton owns and operates 30 luxury hotels throughout the world. Its philosophy: to combine a commitment to excellence with a readiness to embrace innovation.
It's absolutely ludicrous for people still to think that the status quo will save their companies. Somebody's going to get better. Watch out. They're going to get by you, and they're going to eat you alive. They're absolutely going to eat you alive if you're not going to hold peace with them. Somebody's going to get better. I mean, haven't you seen out there, Model T Fords are not around anymore.
Schulze challenged every Ritz-Carlton hotel to come up with a new and better way to compete. At the Ritz-Carlton Tysons Corner, just outside Washington, D.C., the result was an experiment with teams. But Changing from a traditionally structured organization to a team-based one demands management that is totally committed and employees ready to change.
Yes, ma'am.
It is never simple. At Tyson's Corner, they learned that lesson the hard way. In April 1993, the employees were suddenly told they were part of a new pilot program.
They pretty much brought the entire hotel and had a general meeting, and they said, no more managers.
Tomorrow we're teams.
And it created a sense of confusion and a lot of chaos.
It was very abrupt, kind of sudden. This is it. This is where we're going.
Nobody knew who was responsible for what. They just kind of let all the leashes go and everybody went in different directions.
We had gone into a pre-arrival team, then we had the arrival departure team, then we had a stayover team, we had the culinary team, we had a banquet team, we had restaurant services, dining services team, operational support team, the guidance team, team this, team that, team everything.
Behind closed doors, we were looking at each other thinking, how are we going to do this and what are they talking about?
The teams were too large. Team goals were never clearly defined. The issue of accountability hadn't been addressed. Without supervisors, who was in charge?
My innate reaction to it was just to go headstrong, just to move ahead and impose my thoughts and my leadership upon the team, whether they wanted it or not. And so there was some animosity.
During the first 3 months, there was a 100% turnover at the front desk and a turnover of 200% among the concierge staff. Service was suffering. Corporate headquarters had to decide whether to intervene.
We get status reports and see where we can help, but they have to be able to fail. The moment when the CEOs or top management gets involved,